Hello guys, this is Utsav here. Today we will see how can we load a very simple employee XML file via Informatica. So this is our employee source file. I have taken few records from sample HR schema where you have employee ID, name, salary and department. So we have one employee's tag, and then inside that we have a tag for each employee. So this is a very basic XML file, and to load it in via Informatica, you need to specify an XSD. XSD is like a schema definition for an XML. Same way for any database table, you define a table structure like the data type and the column names. So similar way, you have a XSD for a XML file. So let's see how can we load this simple XML file via Informatica. So Informatica, we'll go to source and we will import an XML definition. Now I already have this XSD created, but if you don't have, then there are some very uh, some sites where you can basically give your XML data and it will generate an XSD for you. So this way you can generate an XSD file. So it will parse the XML and based on it will decide what the data type would be. So that's what I specified here. So let's open this. So you got this XML wizard. Let's go to next. So here you will see what kind of XML view you want to be generated. So I will walk you through all these other properties in future videos, which are a bit complex. But for this example, this is very simple file. So we will keep it as entity relationship. So we will finish this. And now you can see you have this XML source created. Now there are two things apart from this employee detail. You see few columns which are not in black color. So this is the XPK employee and this is the FK employee. So FK we will see in future videos because it will be needed when you have a relationship. But in this case, if you see, uh, PK stands for a primary key. Now in this table, you know this employee ID is your primary key. But imagine if you have a XML file where you don't have any primary key specified. So Informatica will create this column and you can use this as your primary key. It will be a unique value which will be changed in every run. So it will not be duplicated ever. So for this example, we will load both all these column in a flat file, and you will see what the values are for these columns: XPK, primary key, and employee ID. So employee ID is coming from your file. So let's first load all this in a output file and see what data do we get. So before this, I already created a target for all these 5 columns. It's a flat file. So let's create a mapping for it. We'll take the source file. We'll keep an expression. Then we will keep our target and collect all. So no, not much logic here. In future videos, when you have a relationship, then you will see there is more to this than it looks. So let's save this. Let's generate a workflow. Okay, so this is the workflow which is created. Let's open this. We have to change the source file name. Okay, so it is source file is direct. Then target file name do we have to change. So let's put it as CSV so we can directly see. And we need header as well. to see what data is going to which column. So we have saved this. Let's execute. Okay, so our workflow is finished now. So we have seen that it loaded 3 rows to target. So let's see what values are in each column. So as you can see, it created, so these 5 rows are coming from the XML file directly, employee ID, name and all. And this XPK employee and FK employee is coming from that XML generator. So I will go through this FK employees in future videos, but in this case, think this way: if you do not have any employee ID, or let's say you do not have a key column, that can then you can leverage this column as your surrogate key. So that will work as your primary key, and you can use it in future joining conditions as well. So there's a way to ignore this. So in your XML, so let's say you already have employee ID defined. So we know this is your primary key and it cannot be duplicated. Then we do not need this column. So in that case, in Informatica, when you define this source, here we can uh, edit this XML definition. So this is the view you get when you go to a source and edit the XML definition. So if you see here, this is your that XPK employee and FK employee. So we do not need this primary key because we know your employee ID is your primary key. So in that case, what we can do is we can right click here and we can say set as primary key. Now, if you see, this XPK employee is gone now. We do not have that anymore because now we know employee ID can work as a primary key here. So we will save this. Okay. Now mapping is valid. We'll go here. So you see this linking for XPK is disconnected now. We do not need this. And let's cut this as well. Save. Let's try running again. Now there will be no data in that column. Okay, so our workflow finished. Earlier it failed because the target file was already open in Excel. So when I closed it, it worked successfully. So now you can see we remove that column. So use this employee ID and other columns. So I hope you learned how can we load a simple XML file via Informatica, and also you understood what this XPK column means. In future videos, we will see how can we load a bit complex XML file where we have relationship between the uh, attributes. So see you in other videos. Thank you. Have a good day ahead.